Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're gonna be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years, but only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. empty. What's yours for the taking tonight?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Jazz hands. Good morning, and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, most of it, Dr. Lauren. I'm here. How you feeling today, right? I'm feeling pretty darn good, to be honest with you. Let me pop my collar. There we go. I'm excited, you guys. Many of you know, maybe not. This month, May, is National Foster Care Month. Foster care awareness, all things foster care. And man, God is good. Never thought the day would come. There was once a time where I thought that coming out of my mouth, anything to do with foster care, wouldn't do much more than make me go. And today it makes me go, ha! That's how you know there's always something in the morning. And can I get an amen? You know, that just means wait on it. There's the first one. Amen. Good morning, beautiful people. Good to see you here today. Listen, awareness is my middle name. And today we're going to find out why. When I was in Charlotte a couple weeks ago, big day for me. It was Ada, my adopted mom's, and I use the term loosely, Ada, my adopted mom's, would have been her 105th birthday that day. We were on Harris Drive Boulevard. The street was called Harris. The building was the Harris Building. That was my original mom. That was her name, her last name, which is why I have Harris, Lucille. And it was the first time I was ever in front of the people I truly served. I've been in front of the kids, right? That's where I headed first, but never in front of the social workers, never in front of the foster parents. And so it was a very special day for me. I was able to call Pops, who is my foster father, that still my heart, number 23. And it was just a day of first, even to the point where I was on the stage, having just reached out to Pops, and I laid the phone down, and it caught my eye when something came through, and I thought I saw pictures, like a collage. And then when I finished, I looked, and for the first time in 62 years, I was looking at images of myself. First grade, kindergarten, second grade, third grade, which outside of the day I sat for those pictures, I had never seen the actual picture because they couldn't keep them. So they were shipped away. And a niece was with my sister, who is on hospice for dementia. She just went and got the photo album that she had them hidden in, opened it up on the table next to my niece, and got up and left. And she took a picture and she sent them to me. Divine timing. So was the moment when the raffle took place for one blessed foster parent to come on the show. And the hand that pulled Katie Tucker. And she's here today. Now, I knew she was a foster mom, but I didn't know what kind. And boy, she specializes in newborns, which is how I entered the system as a newborn. Coincidence? I don't think so. So today I thought, what a special time for all people, especially someone out there who may be considering. I wonder, what does it take to change a life forever? Well, we're going to find out, at least from the perspective of one woman and her family, Katie Tucker. Okay? So you guys, seriously, put some hearts on the screen and put your heart into it today. I'm really honored. I consider this one of the, talk about having a celebrity. And there's been a few here, but this is my number one. Here she comes, you guys. Welcome to Katie Tucker, an example of what can be. Now, where are you? Wait a minute. I hit the button twice. How are you, Katie Tucker?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you.
You look great. Man, got me all verklempt.
You know, I know. I didn't even know what that word meant until I met my husband. Said, and he said it during some show we were watching. I was like, "What? Whoever uses that?" Now I do. I'm so happy to have you here. I want you to tell the folks where you're at in the world. Where do you live? What's it like there today?
Uh, I'm, like you said, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we met. A beautiful, beautiful city. Today, though, is a bit overcast.
Is it?
So, yeah, not such a sunny day, but it is an exciting day. It's also my 25th wedding anniversary. So, shout
I
out to
forgot.
my husband. Yeah,
Yes. What's his first name?
Paul.
Paul. Happy anniversary to you and Paul. 25 years. And this is the year of Jubilee.
That's right.
For those of all of us who understand that, and that's every 25, 50 years. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of things happening. So, Katie, you specialize in, you foster, first of all, thank you. You ought to be, I believe foster parents should be greeted and acknowledged just like soldiers. So thank you for your service. I mean that. And thank you for your sacrifice that comes with it, because there is a lot. How many kids have crossed your path, would you say, Katie, since you began fostering? And when was that?
We are in our 10th, my husband and I are in our 10th year of fostering. So, many, many years. And we've had so many kids. And we've had those who have come for as short as a few hours and as long as over 3 years.
Wow.
And it has been probably over 24 if you were to add the ones that were just here for a short amount of time. Lots of kids. I think my husband loves to keep their names in prayers all the time, and he's
Yes.
a lot better about the numbers and the in the names. But for me, they're all welcome. So
I had to mute so I could blow my nose. I had no idea. Will the day ever come when this doesn't do that to me? I hope not. I hope not. So your husband keeps the names. Man, there's so many things. First of all, biological kids, any?
I do. I have three.
Okay.
My youngest is 16. My daughter, I have another daughter who's 20 and a son who is 22.
Wow. Now they grew up watching you foster.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were part of the decision to become a foster family. They have been by my side as caregivers and babysitters and playmates, and they're really amazing. They're really amazing.
There's a huge teaching moment or thousand or million inside of that, because interestingly enough, while I was being fostered and didn't know I was the fosteree,
Okay.
I really thought I was the birth kid. I thought I was the biological kid, but I was the only one in the house. So my foster mom started fostering.
Okay.
So I'd have somebody to learn to share with, to move my big king size bed out of my room and put twin beds in there. And I was livid over that. I'll never forget. And then when the first kid came, Marvin Campbell, I'll never forget. He looked like a little Michael Jackson, whereas I thought I was the lookalike for little Michael. The fro. Plus, he knew he was a green belt.
Yeah.
And he took my girlfriend.
Oh.
Yes, he got to ride my new bike. I had to share my room with him. And I mean, I could not stand him at first. And I learned a lot from Marvin Campbell. And today, even though I don't know where he is in the world, everybody brings his name up in the other family. I wonder whatever happened to Marvin Campbell. So there are certain names and faces and experiences that do stick with us. But I thought it was interesting because I got to experience having a foster brother, and it taught me so much.
Yes.
Even though we were the same age and he could kick my ass, You know, I learned a lot. I really did. So I want to ask you this. What was it? What did you see? What did you feel? What did you hear? What was it? Who broached the conversation initially in your family dynamic? Who in the unit said, you know what, you guys, we should think about this? Did an outsider bring the opportunity to you? But you had three of your own. What made you say, we need to help?
Yeah, I earlier in our marriage, before we had our third child,
Mhm.
I remember talking to my husband, had something that had been laid on my heart, and I said, I think I want to try and do this. And we talked about it. We agreed that was probably not the right time for our family. But then after we had our third, he brought it back up. He said, "You still interested?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And it was just, when people say you're called to do something, I was absolutely called into this mission. And I can go back and think about times that, I read articles. I remember when I would watch the news with my parents when I was little, and they'd say they took the children into custody when they would talk about, you know, uh, something that happened in the news. And I always wondered, but where did they take them? Yeah. What does
Where
that mean? Right. And it was because lived such a, I lived a life that was not a part of. I don't know that I knew any foster kids. I very well could have, but that was not something that I knew growing up. I lived in a small town, not a large city. But and then as the years went on, I would read articles about, women who would take children, just for a period of time before their adoption was finalized, this kind of middle person and stuff like that. And I thought, I could do that. I could really do that. So I think, I think it started a long time ago for me. And then it just became the right time. And it is something that we really love to do.
In 10 years now, you've been loving this love to do. And that is just, man, thank you so much for that. Now, for those of you out there that may not be aware of the current numbers, then they're never accurate. They're always, for some odd reason, when you Google or you go to look, you get the numbers that are from as far back as currently now. I typed in currently. How many kids currently are languishing in the foster care system in the United States? And every time I've done it, and I've done it periodically over the years, it's always 2 or 3 years behind. So the current number today, according to AI, right, which is spot on, supposedly, the most recent we can get is 2022. So as recently as 2022, in the U.S., the foster care system had over 368,000 children and youth in care. Now, it bodes to be mentioned that a significant portion of these children, right around 108,000 is what they say, are eligible for adoption, but they're just sitting there, just languishing. And over 33,000 youth are within institutions or congregate care, also known as the group home setting. So a lot of different variations, and they range from infancy, which is what Katie and her family specialize in helping out with, all the way through the ripe old age of 21. So a lot of us, the reason I brought that up is a lot of us think that when kids turn 18, that's it. But no, all the way to 21 years old. So, which is why at Power We Symposium, we service kids from 12 to 22 to try to extend the net a little further. So many things, so many dynamics. So Katie, what would you say is for you personally as the mom, what is the thing? Because I have a little clip, but I don't know if we'll even get to it. It is entitled, What We Wish We Had Known Before Fostering. Anything you wish you had known before fostering that you might throw out there? Because you've been through it, especially with the little ones. As the mom, and it could be, you have your three to take care of. You have your husband. which is a separate lane. You have your community things, maybe church, school, or whatever, and now this. So, what is one of the things that you wish you had known?
It's so hard because I know what I look at now, 10 years into it, is probably different than I at the very beginning. Um, I wish I had known how hard it was going to be on my heart. It was going to be hard. Parenting is hard, right? You're parenting in not an ideal situation. And I had experienced parenting, so I thought, I could do this. But it is so much harder on my heart to parent a child in foster care. I mean, it is the kids have needs, the family has needs, the community has needs. You have a lot of so many avenues that you want to share your self with, and I think that it is so worth it, though. And I would tell myself this. I tell myself today still, but I would go back and be like, it's worth it, because it's also the most rewarding thing I've ever done, for sure.
Wow.
For sure. So
Wow, really?
I have been able to reunite so many families, help kids get back to their homes, help my community in a way that I didn't know was possible, right? Like just a one little spark, to help that family kind of get back on their feet if that's what they need.
Yeah.
That's pretty rewarding. That's good to be able to do.
I had never considered this, but it's really like, in many cases, you're offering grace. You're providing grace, because
Grace
it's a
upon
grace
grace
period.
upon grace.
Yeah.
No,
It's like a period where something can happen. It freezes the separation,
mhm.
the conveyor belt that's moving them away from each other. It kind of stops it for a minute, puts it in a holding pattern while something better can maybe take root. I see it. Now, you mentioned earlier everywhere from 3 hours or a few hours to 3 years. So I wonder, because when I was looking into, I'm familiar with it, but I wanted to get it right and make sure it was still current, what it takes to do this work. And one of the things that starts out, of course, there are background checks. There's a licensing process, and we can talk a little bit about that. But then there's also, I saw the part about trauma-informed parenting is a piece that is provided in there. And I thought, well, I wonder how that fits into someone like Katie and her family, dealing with primarily little ones, newborns and infants. So I wanted to ask you, and I'm really serious, I think it's very interesting. What is the earliest age that you think that you may not have proof, but you can tell, ooh, is that some trauma in that 7-month-old? Is that because you see so many, how babies and little ones respond to things? What, if anything, what would you point to and say that makes you go, he or she, what happened there? Because like when people go to get rescues, animals and stuff, they can see, you see someone we got this, our new pup, our new whatever. And were they a rescue? They do something and you ask, were they a rescue? Because that's some kind of behavior. Do you see that in babies? Something that makes you think, ooh.
I think you can. Babies are all just like children, such unique individuals, right? And so it's hard to say, that's a trauma response, or that's their personality. Trying to decide what that is. I think that people think that if you take if you foster newborns or adopt newborns, that they're not going to have any trauma because they didn't know any. And I
Yeah,
think
what do they know? Right.
yeah, that's a very false statement, because leaving the womb of the mother who just gave birth to you and being taken from the voice that you've heard and the noises that you've heard, the smells, right after birth. Those are all such important things. And these kids, a lot of times, their journey while in utero was not, all peaceful and happy and easy for them. And they do have some responses that are, a lot of the kids are born, maybe addicted to drugs, or, came from, or were born too early for, an abuse situation or something like that. There's just things that you can't imagine, how much the brain will absorb even before they're born. And so if I take this child, from the hospital, and I meet their mother, hopefully, and we can still go home and we can still say, this is a hard thing for them. This is a not easy time to overcome. And so, loving and creating attachment and teaching them, what a loving family looks like is, it's so vital to helping them create a future that hopefully will be a little bit easier for them.
So, Katie, thank you for that. When a child comes into your care, do they bring them to the door, or do you have to go to the hospital? I heard something in that last run that made me think you've been called. Can you get over to Weisinger General, Katie? We have a case for you. And then, you throw on your Florence Nightingale cape, put on your super woman, Wonder Woman bracelets.
That's right. And I pack the diaper bag and I go. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You go.
Yeah, I have had it both ways. I've had children brought to me, and many times I have been to the hospital to pick up the child.
So,
and yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and when possible, hopefully meet the mom if she's still there. Not all cases are different. Every situation, that's not an option. But that for me is important. If I'm able to do that, I think it's important to start, showing that entire family that who I am. I'm not somebody taking their baby off in the middle of the night. And that we're going to work together. I'm not going to be the only mom that this baby knows, so.
I don't know why I should ask this question. It doesn't make sense to me. Have you ever noticed as you leave with a child, this is for my own, I was going to say stupid needs, but that's not true either. You know how when you see a baby, how they look at you like they know something? Like almost you can hear them thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen a baby look up at you while you're walking to the car, you're peeking at them when you get in there, and somehow you can tell they know? Where are we going? Where's my mommy? That kind of thing. I always wonder, did I know anything? Could I sense anything?
No, I think they know. I think they know. But not only do I want them to sense that they're in a safe place. They're going to be safe with me. And so Yeah, I mean, I think that people don't give infants enough credit. This is one area that I just absolutely love working with them, because they're such amazing little humans. They're not, just blobs of clay. They are feeling, sensing people that deserve our respect and attention just as much as anyone else, I think. So
Yeah. What do you say to them? What I get this feeling. I get this feeling. I don't know where it's coming from, but I could just see you communicating and expecting them to communicate in return. And something tells me you have a secret that you keep between you and them. You don't tell people that. This other one was I had a conversation with a newborn the other day who was telling me that who shared with me the following.
yeah,
And I believe it because there's body language. They tell you when they're hungry. They tell you when they're in pain. I bet you they can ask questions. Is my mommy okay? Talk about that.
like I said, I want them to know that they're loved.
Yes.
I want them to know that they're safe. I want them to know that, I'm going to take care of their needs, and
That's sweet.
and it's just
That's so sweet.
it's just a connection, like you said, looking at them and letting them know that for sure.
And I have a feeling the moment you did it, you knew you were right where this is why. Now there it is. Right there. There it is. How amazing. I have said many times that when I was in the system, not every mother, there were 22. I really say 23 now because I've added, since the loss of my mother-in-law, I've added her to the bundle because she did have mother in her title to me, for me. And so I honor her that way. But I say, not every mother that I encountered was worthy of the title because some were not the same as the other. One of these things is not like the other, right? But I can't say that any of them were wrong. Any of them were bad. They did their best in playing the role that they were given to play in my journey at that particular time, in both of our journeys. And so I've learned without being in the moment when I learned it, later to accept it, I've learned that, well, I was a lesson for them. I was a blessing for them, or I was an opportunity for them. They were growing, they were learning, just like, believe it or not, I was. And so I say that to you too, because I didn't leave any of them out. You see, when it says 22 mothers, I may not have known their names, but I didn't leave any of them out.
Yeah.
And so that means that I count them among every step of this journey. And so I say that to you because every child you've touched, they count you among their steps, whether they realize it or not. And so let's talk about this. How you do your best, because you have your own children, you have your biological children, but I know for a fact, because I've talked to foster parents, and some of them said this, that I was actually in their charge, and this was years later, where they say, yeah, many times, I wonder where that one kid is, or I remember that one boy, Lauren. I wonder how he's doing. I wonder. So, do you find yourself being haunted sometimes by the spirits of other children, children that you've had? Like, man, I just want to send some prayers. She would be right around 4 now. That sort of thing. What do you think that means when a child comes flying into your spirit and you go, huh?
I'd say they're all right there, Dr. Lauren. I mean, I keep
Really?
them so close to my heart, and I just love them all. And
Oh,
any that I've been able to keep in contact with, I do. Even if it's, just Christmas or just their birthday, certainly I keep them all their birthdays are on my
you
calendar.
do?
So I wake up and I say, oh, it's so and so's birthday. They're, going to be 3 today or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
praying for them, always thinking about them. Feeling guilty if I miss something, which is, I have to give myself a little bit of grace, but it's like, I want them to know that I'm always here. I'm always going to be, you know, a person that is part of their story,
Yes. Yes.
and will want to continue to be if they want or need me to be.
You know, part of the healing, a big part of the healing, I believe, for all of us who have come through the foster system, and the healing is important because it replaces the shame that somehow we carry with us, unnecessarily, but necessary, if that makes any sense, because it helps you get there. It helps you get there. And so I like when I was at the event with you a couple weeks ago. I was so excited to be able to share pops with you guys, and that look at all these years later, and the story of how it was a no-brainer. One of the things I thought I would want to hold on with a death grip because it proved I was something special, which was that Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And I never even took the plastic wrap off of the big framed piece with the president and the vice president, a big medal and the letter in there where he signed it. And you'd have thought I'd have it hanging right there just to stare at and say, see, you did become something valuable. But I took it straight to their home because it belonged there. That's where it would be at home, because that's where they looked at me and said, you, and I will never forget that morning at something like almost 4 a.m, where I said, my friend Rick is out there and he wants me to go with him to Arizona because he said he will turn around and abandon if I'm not there to help motivate him all the way there. Even then, I had a spark of what is today, and they were the ones who blew on it, Pat and Jean, and said, go, we support you. All your dreams are out there. But if you should not find them or something doesn't feel timely and you need to regroup, you can always come back here, for this will always be your home, no matter what. And the minute I saw that award, I knew it was theirs. And so that's where it hangs. And so it's just amazing to me, Katie, how deep the impact can be that people like you have on people like me.
I often think, some babies leave me when they're so young that they won't remember me. They won't remember my face. They won't remember my name. They don't know any different than what, their little memories can hold. But I hope that the feeling of being loved is something that they'll always know. And that's what I pray for.
Well, your prayers are answered, because I can tell you it's true. Because I'll tell you something, and I'm going to go back and spend some time with it. But this right here, I want to show, it's just amazing when I I'm gonna find it because it's right here. Wow. Almost there. I'm thinking while I'm going. So there we are. I'm at our event. Oh, there you and I are. I know. When this happened, those guys showed up.
Yeah.
Now I go back and I look at their smiles, and I see that outside of the one where I was 6, I remember I didn't want to go because I had a tooth missing and I didn't want to smile.
I love that.
And so I went kind of like a little of both. And I wonder, and you know what, even though I may not remember where I was, something says it's not important. Remember, you remembered how to smile. You hadn't forgotten how to smile. A lot of kids come through this experience and they forget how to smile. On the inside, on the outside, everywhere. And it's people like you who give us that rope, that tether us to those moments, that reinstate everything that creates a smile. And I don't think you guys realize you're doing it. And it's probably a good thing, because if you knew how important it was, you'd probably run in the opposite direction. I don't want that responsibility. It's too heavy. But you do it. So what, in your opinion, Katie Tucker, would be one of the things that you would say makes for a great foster parent? It is the true essence of being of service in that capacity. What would you say? Would it be patience? Would it be grace? Would it be unconditional love? Would it be all of those things and more? What would it be? What's it take to do this job?
I think it takes all of those things. I think it takes the ability to open up your heart and your home to kids and situations that make you uncomfortable, but the ability to be, to sit with that and meet the child where they are and help them through it, walk through it. I mean, it's not, some days are so wonderful and some days are so hard. And knowing that you have the ability to take some of the burden off of that child and carry it for them, and willing and wanting to do that, because it will make their life better. So, grace for them, grace for yourself, grace for the system, grace for, everybody around you, for sure. I mean, it is a lot of patience too.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
How what would you say, Katie, is one of the things that this experience has helped you find in regard to your own journey? What has it done? What has it poured into your own journey that you would have never seen coming on the front end, but you're so grateful that you did not miss?
Oh
Right
my God.
where you are. Yeah.
I absolutely have grown into a person that is willing to see people for who they are and to see both sides of the story, and to and has taught our family, such amazing things. My kids have written essays. I think I worried a lot, my husband and I, a lot about our biological children and the effect it would have on them. And it did have an effect on them. Oh my goodness, for sure it did. And, and it was hard for them too. but they have.
What do you speak of? What do you mean when you say that?
Oh, they don't, the attention you could pour into, your own children is now divided, right? You're dividing your attention across different stressors, different children, different situations. The time, my kids have given up, maybe their arts festival at school because, we have to do a therapy session for our foster child or something like that. There's sacrifices, that they've given up, but I don't know that any of them would say, and I know none of them would say that it wasn't worth it in the end, because loving the children that have come into our home and caring for them is it is rewarding. It's probably, it's the hardest thing I've ever done and the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So
How have you avoided the temptation, if you will, to keep one of those fosters that pass through? Because oftentimes, I'm sure more than we know, you go, oh, can I just keep her? Can I keep him? And because sometimes people foster and then it transitions into forever.
Forever, absolutely. Well, and I have a bit of a different story. My children that have come into my home have been reunited with their families. We have worked hard. Now, that does not happen with every case. Those some cases cannot end that way. They all begin that way. Reunification is always the number one goal. The goal is always to reunify a family. But the I want to keep them all, and I do, but I have to keep them in my heart. Right? They're amazing. They are absolutely 100% the most, children are so lovable, of course. And it's
automatic.
And, that's probably the number one comment I get when I'm out in public with my foster infants, who are so cute, and I've got them dressed and they have a bow on their head and they're happy and they've got, they're giggling, and they say, I don't know how you could do it. I could never do it. I would want to keep them all. And, depending on the situation and who it is and where I am and everything, I say, I want to keep them all. Don't think that I am a heartless person who just, says, okay, time to go back. It's not. It's not like that. It is, different kids make different imprints on your soul and your family. And it is hard for me, just like it would be for that person asking, oh, I could never do it. Yes, you could, because if you truly love that child, you want what's best for them. And that may not be you. That may not be, your house and what you think is best. So,
do you ever have to deal with question marks in your own world of, am I doing enough? You know what I mean? I just feel, I don't even know what that feeling is that I feel, but I can imagine it feels to me like you walk a tight wire, a high wire. Like, there takes a lot of balance. You could easily question your capabilities because the cargo is so fragile.
Yeah.
It's like you're responsible for taking eggs to market every day, but eggs with a shell a lot thinner than the everyday egg.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All eggs are fragile, but these, eggs are extra special.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Wow, wow, such an
I know.
honor.
I think it's such an attempt as foster parents to give us, to use your analogy, as much padding as you can give to before you send them out. You know what I mean? Right? Like let's um
Christian.
just give them as yeah, everything you can, all the resources, right? Like let's give you some extra this and a little extra that, so that when you're out there in the world, hopefully you won't crack quite as easily.
Yeah, yeah,
So
extra cushion for
yeah,
when you hit those when you go over those potholes and
that's
those
right.
bumps of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I'm gonna tell you something. From the side of the foster kid, I really believe that there are things that we carry with us that come from those times that we were packed with that extra padding.
I hope so.
And well, I can tell you I know so. Because I like when I told Ann, my caseworker, all those years later, she remembered the 5 times that I squoze her hand twice, our secret language, our signal,
Yeah.
come and get me. But what she didn't know was that I was able to do it because of that extra padding. Hundreds of times over the next 40 years, without her even being within 1,000 miles for all I knew. I was still able to receive, and she was still able to give. It's an amazing thing. It's mystical, it's magical, and it is what rides with unconditional. That I know to be true. It puts something in place that never gets thin, it never wears out, it never breaks the connection. Just like I found my birth mother by dropping my birth certificate on the floor of a place nowhere near where we had left each other. It is that moment that brought us back to each other. And so I'm telling you, just if there's that connection with your biological mom because you were once one person, every person that touched you unconditionally with their love, there's still a connection because that made you once one person as well. And I didn't know that until today here with you. It gave me a whole new way to honor the distance between every one of those birth mothers, because I call them birth mothers right now in this moment because I was born into their world for a moment and they were born into mine. And so it's a great way to look at it. It's like a grappling hook of purpose that lets us know that nothing is by accident, nothing is by chance, nothing is just arbitrary, nothing is just a spin of the wheel. It's on purpose. And I just love it. So, what would you say as we prepare to wrap this up? What would your advice be, Katie Tucker, to that person or person? Because someone starts and takes it to the next person that, like you took it to your husband, then he brought it back to you. What would be the first thing or what would you say to anyone who is questioning anything about their potential in this thing of fostering this world, this miracle? What would you say to encourage them?
I would say that you have got so, if you're thinking about it, then you've probably got the value in you that you need to make it happen. It's not a journey that you have to make by yourself. Look into it in your area. There are support systems in place to help foster parents, and it takes a village.
Mm,
Don't feel like this is something that you are incapable of doing because you don't know any parent friends, or you don't know any other foster parents, or you've never known a foster kid. That was my situation. I had never met a foster family before, and I went ahead, and what an amazing community that I have found. And the village is huge. You know what? And it needs more people with the heart to help the kids in foster care.
So when people want to look for resources or get an idea, so just
Mhm.
should they just Google, what do you know how to foster, how to get started,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's what I did, right? But there's, it's so the foster care system's always going to be under a division of social services in your community, right? So generally, there's going to be, county, a county agency here in Charlotte. It's called the Youth and Family Services, and they have the umbrella of foster care, and they run classes and they teach you and so forth. A lot of times in a larger community like Charlotte or in a city, there's also agencies that can help you along the way, that specialize in foster care. But yeah, give it a Google, find out, answer. There's some good resources now available to helping you get started.
Perfect. And there's the operative word, started. Starting leads to started. And we are human beings, and we're not, as of yet, human dones. There's still time to do it. So get to it. If you or someone you know has the capacity to love beyond just what's in front of you, you might want to find out a little more about how you can share that with the worthy child, starting with the one nearest to you. Get out there, check out the questions, find the answers, find the people who can provide the answers, and ask questions to people just like Katie. You could be sitting or living right next door to one. You never know. Get out there and don't underestimate the possibilities that live within each of us, okay? You might just change a person's life for the rest of your life and theirs. I love it. And I love you. So thank you, Katie Tucker, for being a real life superhero. And I mean that. Thank you so much. And I don't just say it from me, but I take this opportunity to speak for all. And the rest of that, all of us and all of them, those who made it and those that are still making it. You can do it too. Thank you so much. Listen, you all get out of here. Go out and make it a great day. You're already great. Find an E and an R. Do what Katie did. Pour into whatever you can, and she just made my world and yours greater. Do that, and one day someone's going to point and say, here they come. Only one of our greatest, okay? I'll see you tomorrow morning. It's Meet the Experts Day. They'll be in the house talking about whatever we're going to talk about, and we hope you're here with us. Don't let my screen door slam on your way out, and remember, Dr. Lauren loves you. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. Have your best day ever. See you, Katie. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.